I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, September the 1st, brought to you in part by Toromox by Norbrook. Toromox is the Moxie with the Moxie. Use Toromox to treat and control gastrointestinal roundworms, lungworms, cattle grubs, mites, and lice. And Toromox is proven to effectively protect cattle from reinfection of key internal parasites. For more information, go to norbrook.com. More corn choppers than combines? Likely not, but there are a lot of people that are running corn choppers over their cornfields, especially in Kansas, where it got so awful dry and didn't have near the crop that they would like to have had or what they may have typically had, but still going to make good feed out there. But you know, we saw such a horrible drought in Kansas over most of the summer, and then they got some late moisture there. Really wasn't enough to help the pastures for the most part. Of course, on the eastern side in the Flint Hills, they had decent enough pasture, and it was dry enough that it stuck to the cattle and they weighed heavy. But you get up into the Midwest, and we're seeing some guys up there that are not really sure how much damage they have to their corn with a couple of real intense heat periods there. And then they're taking a look at what a pound of beef is worth. So if they can chop that up, bag it, put it in a silage pit, something like that. And guys have been so short of feed for so long, they're just tired of it. They want to put some feed up, have some feed. If they see an opportunity to buy some cattle or maybe even buy some cows and put some weight on them, they want to have some feed to do that. You look at the crop tours, that Pro Farmer crop tour come back with their information this week. They're expecting Nebraska to have yields of 173 bushels to the acre, Iowa 197, Indiana 194, and Illinois to average 203 bushels to the acre. Most farmers have never seen a corn crop of over 200 bushels to the acre, for sure. But you know, they're going to be averaging that out there in the eastern corn belt, and you know, that's a pretty good. It's not going to be a all-time record, we're not expecting, but going to be a pretty decent crop there. And you know, some guys that have the ability to farmer feed, they've got a lot there. They're thinking, you know what, we might want to put up some silage here and have some feed, and it's worth good money. And a lot of them are selling it. I was talking to my friend Lee Richmond up there in Nebraska, and he said you can kind of always get a ballpark figure of what that silage is worth. It's worth, by the ton, it's worth about 12 times what a bushel of corn is. So you figure that corn's around $5 a bushel. We're in the $60 per ton area in there, and he said they may be getting a little more for that, up in the upper 60s per ton there. But it's awfully good feed there, guys, and a lot of people want it. And you just look at what these cattle are bringing. You know, if you're talking about cattle bringing up close to you know, $1.70 a pound, that's what a pound of that gain is worth. You're talking about those cattle bringing 185, more than that fat. That's what each pound is worth, people. And you buy those cattle, and you've got to back them up somehow. If you're given 260, 270, something like that for a yearling, you've got to be able to back him up. Well, you can do that if you get some feed put up right. It's fairly inexpensive. You can roll that feed to them, especially if it's got some grain in it, and then you add a little bit more. You can make a pretty decent ration there, and it includes some good roughage too. So there's a lot of people running corn choppers out there. I've heard you don't have to have South Africans running the crew, but it does help. Let's talk about your board for Thursday. August live cattle futures up 92 cents at 179.72. October up 77 at 180.82. Your back months are all up 50 cents to 92 cents. August feeder cattle down 95. Now don't think of the whole spectrum that way, just your August feeder cattle that had to meet up with CME cash feeder cattle index. And I told you they probably weren't going to get to 250, and it didn't. So your August contract had to back in, parallel park into that space, and it had to back up 95 cents to get close at 249.10. CME cash feeder cattle index, the latest available, was 248.95. So it always converges there, which makes you think maybe the cash settlement's not that bad. September feeder cattle contracts up 65 cents at 253.27. Your back month's up 80 cents to up $1. New crop December corn down another 2.5 cents at 478.25. Another reason why some people that don't have their grain sold are thinking maybe they want to chop that. About November beans, new crop down 18 cents at 1368.75. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for September up 7.25 cents at 726.5. Fat cattle trade, we did see considerable fat cattle trade on Thursday, and maybe people wanted to have a long Labor Day weekend there, and they didn't want to have to fool with trying to sell their fat cattle on Friday afternoon or Friday evening, so they sold them on Thursday. Iowa sold another 5,200 head. Still light trade for them, only 13,600 for the week, but there's going to be considerable trade on late Thursday that we don't get all of so far. But live sales 183 to 185, that's a buck lower. Dress sales 290 to 292, steady to $3 lower. Nebraska, 12,600 head sold on Thursday, up before 2 o'clock. There'll be a lot more after, but that's 16,200 head for the week. Live sales 180 to 183.5, about $3 lower. Nebraska's really taken it on this market here the last couple of weeks. And dress sales 288 to 294, but largely 290 to 292. Kansas sold cattle 6,700 head, only 7,100 head for the week. 178 to 179, mostly 178, and one or two deals at 290 dressed. Now you think 178, they lost a buck there. Well, how about Texas? 4,700 head sold on Thursday, 4,900 head for the week. They were 178 to 179, but mostly all 179. You never see that. You never see Texas selling higher than anybody, and you saw them sell mostly on Thursday higher than what Kansas got, a buck higher. So that'd be steady in Texas, buck lower in Kansas. Box beef cutout values were lower, and they've struggled to try to keep those levels that they achieved late last week. Your choice cuts on Thursday afternoon down 132 at 313.79. Selects down 28 cents at 289.25. Slaughter 499,000 through the first 4 days of the week. That was 11,000 more than last week, 3,000 less than the same week a year ago. Your actual slaughter information come in for the week ending August the 19th, had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 905 pounds. That's 4 pounds more. But expect the very next report, the next report that comes out, which will be for the next week, will be after some of that extreme heat. I think we're going to see your average dressed steer carcass weight drop big time, and that would be a strong fundamental indicator that the board would pay attention to, guys. Talk about what else is going on. Performance Livestock Analytics. Performance Beef is an app, and it's as easy to use as your cell phone and goes on your cell phone. It will help you simplify feeding, performance, and health records all in one easy place. For more information, check out performancelivestockanalytics.com. Talk about your feeder cattle markets, your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Thursday, based on an 800-pound steer up through your middle 12 states, sits at 247.91. That was up 98 cents, so very near 248. Your CME cash feeder cattle index backed up, so it didn't get up there over 250 like we were thinking it might have a chance to, because we were looking at that ripe August feeder cattle contract. But 248.95 is the latest available there, and like I said, they always converge. But look at your big sales on Thursday. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas had 4,300 head. They didn't have their federal state market report out by the time that I put this report together, but they didn't have a good test for last week because of the extreme heat. Market looked awfully good. It's your National Beefwire stick-out sale of the day. Look at your best tested weights there in Farmers and Ranchers, and nearly all your 5 weights were well tested. 380 head of 5-weight steers in Salina, Kansas averaged 548 with an average price of $283.65. 336 head of 7-weight or 6-weight steers averaged 655 at $268.73. 569 head of 7-weight steers averaged 747 pounds with a weighted average price of $256.10. 907 head of 8-weight steers in Salina, Kansas had a weighted average weight of 842 pounds, weighted average price of $245.20. 593 had a 9-weight steers average 930 at $238.67. And just one well-tested group there of your heifers. It was the 7-weight heifers. 460 head of them averaged 765 pounds, the weighted average price of $236.49. How about winter livestock in Pratt, Kansas? Pretty good run for the light receipts they've been running there. 2,800 head. Didn't have hardly anything last week due to the heat. Of course, 2 weeks ago's market in comparison, feeder steers steady to $5 higher. They called the feeder heifers steady to $4 lower. I don't know, I wasn't there, but that's what the federal state market report says, and they got poor market reporting in Kansas. Dang it. How about an individual quote out of Pratt? 65 steers weighed 971 at 244. That's pretty smoky. How about some individual quotes from all around the country? You guys, when you're putting these light calves together, you want to look for a place where you can get some hard calves that won't give you a lot of problem. One of those places is Wilcox, Arizona. Wilcox Livestock Auction in Wilcox, Arizona is a DVAuction broadcaster. You can watch them every week right there. You can view and bid their sale right there. And you're going to like the light cattle that they have out of there. I've been down there before, and those cattle are hard. They had 129 light steer calves in Wilcox on Thursday. They weighed 312 pounds and bring $373.75. Congratulations to them. How about Stockman's Livestock Exchange in Dickinson, North Dakota? Way up there, about as far as you could get from Wilcox, Arizona to Dickinson, North Dakota. But how about this individual quote for Stockman's Livestock Exchange? 62 steers weighed 909 at $256.50. And then the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Columbus Sales Pavilion in Columbus, Nebraska, was 50 steers weighed 866 at $260. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.